104 to 106.
Cork's Red FM.
Very, very pleased with the second half and really the result at the end of it. At this important stage of the season in the competition, to be playing sides above you or around you to get a result is, in most cases, worth more than the 4 points you get.
For us, we were more worried about our actual performance and the belief in our performance more so than the scoreboard. We've confidence in our own ability, we've confidence in our belief, I suppose, in that we know that if we just keep chipping away, then that hopefully that'll be good enough to get us across the line. And I think it showed out there tonight. We were possibly a little bit fitter than them, and I think that's what happened at the end of the game. We, all that hard work in the first half seemed to pay at the very end of the game. These games, it's just the way the season has gone. It's just shown that home teams' home advantage has become massive. Teams are struggling a lot to win away from home.
Every point you gather, whether it's a bonus point or losing bonus point, is so important. You see the congestion on the table there. It could come down to that, or come down. You saw how close, Edinburgh ourselves and Glasgow all stuck there on 34 points pre-game, with 9 or 10 point spread on the three tie side. So, for and against, and bonus points are an integral part of the competition now going forward.
You look at the Glasgow team. They're obviously a very good side. Ahead of us on points difference tonight going into the game. So the big thing for us is just get the victory. That's what we did. I think also the fact that we didn't allow them a bonus point was big for us. I think we sit second now. Obviously we've Leinster next week. All we can do now is concentrate on ourselves. If we beat Leinster next week, it becomes a bit tighter, puts a little bit more pressure on them. So as I say, we just concentrate on ourselves from here on in, and hopefully we can do enough to get a home semi-final.
We let Glasgow off, about 3 or 4 occasions in the first half in the green zone. I think we had 2 scrums and 2 kicks that were well received with no real pressure on. So we really need to look at that part of our game. Once we get down there, we need to put sides with the sword, and that's definitely an area to go forward with.
Improving the set piece, I think everything gets a lift from that. I certainly think, as I say, we've improved our set piece, and from that things become easier. It's a lot easier for the back line, when we're parity or on top in the forwards. It's a lot easier for the back line to get off the line, and it means that then when we're folding around the corner, we're on the front foot as opposed to being on the back foot, which we have been for for a lot of this season. Certainly at different spells during the season. I won't say for the whole season, but things, I suppose, are a lot easier in that regard. So again, as I say, it's just an area that we just need to keep working on, keep improving, same as every aspect of our play at the moment. Just keep improving, and hopefully that'll be good enough to get us where we want to be.
Thought at certain times in the first half I thought we played quite well too, but I think the thing that really killed us out there this evening was we seemed to go back-to-back mistakes, whether it was a penalty, then a turnover ball, which we worked really hard to get, and then it was a knock-on, and then the kick-off there, and then there was another penalty there. So that was a real point for us once we've made a mistake to really get back on and knuckle down and either get the ball back and make use of it. But, you're playing good sides like Glasgow above us in the table, so it's never easy. The result is the most important thing, but certainly we need to go forward, there's no doubt about that.
I think we always have the same problem against Glasgow every year. It's a bit of, I suppose, gamesmanship from both sides. If you notice, the scrums were very slow in getting set tonight, and that's Glasgow always seem to come in late, try and take a small bit of a step to the side. So we were refusing to go down until they were set. That's what's happening. We got a free kick against us at once, and that was all that happened, really. It's just one of those things. We were trying to counteract what they were doing. They were trying to counteract us. That's life. We took 1 or 2 down, they took 1 or 2 down, a couple of penalties against us, a couple of penalties against them. To be fair, I suppose, to the refs, it's very difficult nowadays. It's just an area for us that we're going to have to improve on, We know that the set piece has been an area for us this season that has possibly not been as strong as we'd have liked it to be. We're putting a lot of work into it. I think the line-out is improving. A few mistakes tonight. Same as scrum. But it's just an area that, going forward for the next couple of weeks, that we're just trying to improve.
We've really been building since the Edinburgh game at the start of the Six Nations. We really targeted those 3 games in a block, and we were lucky enough to get 8 points out of there whilst not playing great rugby now, that we're slowly getting the rest of the international contingent back, was really important that we got a result this evening going into some really important weeks in front of us.
Obviously it's the same for every team, chopping and changing, guys back from international duty, resting guys, all of that, put all that together. And I think when you're improving week on week, it helps. Obviously there's a couple of boys to come back in yet, 4 or 5 lads I think. They'll be reintroduced probably next week. That'll give out the whole squad a boost. It'll make guys work that bit harder. Puts the pressure on Tony and Larry to, if there's a lot more decisions to be made, and that can only just help the squad as a whole. Going forward into the next couple of weeks, which obviously we've 4 games left in the Magners League, and 4 games in the regular season, then hopefully 2 more on top of that, obviously, and the same in the Heineken Cup. So for us it's just all about momentum now, and hopefully we can keep that going for the next couple of weeks.
There's some really difficult decisions to be made Monday morning going into the Leinster game. There's competition right across the board there, and I think some of the players have really put their hands up in the last period of time to put their case forward for selection. So it's going to be a long weekend looking over tapes and making sure you're making the right decision.
That's the beauty of this squad. You've got very good quality players in every position, and as I say, that can only help Munster. And that's all we need is guys putting pressure on each other, making each other work that bit harder to ultimately help Munster get where we want to go by the end of the season.
The wonderful thing about playing a side like Leinster, we were lucky enough to get 2 good results against them in the Magners League. The Heineken Cup semi-final's gone. That was a one-off game that had its own consequences, and we need to live with that. We can't ever get that moment back, but our work for this week will be the 4 points, and a very important part for us to go up the table again against a side who's above us. So that'll be a real point, but obviously you want to win for a number of reasons.
104 to 106.
Cork's Red FM.